What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Beta Memoirs, a weekly update where I like to provide you guys some insights on what is coming towards the week, some news, events, perhaps some IPOs that I am looking at, or perhaps even some earnings, because we do have earnings starting to roll back in now that Q1 has finished up. We've actually got numbers from Tesla as well too. So I want to go over some of the news articles that I have found. Again, I'm recording this on a Saturday, so there could be more news events that happen before open on Monday morning. Nonetheless, these are particular ones that I feel will play into what we are looking for this hopefully April bull run, since it's been a little bit of a rough March. Nonetheless, let's go ahead and pull up the first article I got here. Again, the first thing I do have here that I want to show you guys, let me see here, is this article. Yes, 533 million Facebook users, phone numbers, and personal data has been leaked online. So that is your first headline going into this week. So what do? We like to short Facebook when that happens. And considering all the good positive news around Facebook, Facebook has been one of the standalone tech companies that has really just done its own thing over the past month, really, and has definitely segregated itself from the rest of tech. But with that being said, everything else is being held down and getting ready to turn. So what more than what you need is to get some negative news like this to bring Facebook back down for earnings at the beginning of next month. I actually believe is when Facebook earnings is, but nonetheless, that is the first one I wanted to share with you. There's a couple different headlines here that are there are a couple different headlines here that I want to share with you guys. The next one I got here, this one is actually quite interesting. The Suez Canal, it looks like the Suez Canal shipment backlog ends days after the giant vessel got freed. So that's another very positive attribute that is going to feed in, since it was so backlogged. The biggest concern from that and the tanker being stuck was the backlog and the fact that it could have caused inflation numbers to rise, which is something we're trying to avoid, especially after what could have been the whole fiasco last month was because of possibly that. And then some more positive news we can get into is Nano X Imaging FDA clearance of $510K for single source nano arc digital X-ray. So this is huge. They are reducing prices for X-rays. That's ultimately what this is for. Now that they got approval, this is what they've been looking for a while. I know a lot of people have been waiting on this. They do have approval, so I would highly expect this to be on watch on Monday, because essentially, right, it's definitely innovation at its best right here is reducing cost. And that's what innovation does, is help reduce cost. And that's what Nano X Imaging is doing. So definitely one I would want to keep on watch on Monday. It's not something I typically trade. It is, again, everything has been going sideways over the past month. But that particular one is not one that I think you should let up, because I think it could really run. And right now, I think the pricing, we'll look it up when I pull up the charts after these news articles. But nonetheless, the chart, I think we can go for a Tesla-like move because this is very historical in my mind. It's very changing in that whole medical industry in itself. is having the reduced costs in x-rays, and especially getting in that particular industry. It's extremely hard to get anything approved. That is for sure. So again, another big one to keep on watch. And the last one we got for you, since we all are Tesla fanboys or girls, is Tesla released Q1 2021 delivery results, massive new record of 185,000 cars. So if you didn't buy Tesla on Friday, which I didn't do, I did scalp it, but I didn't buy it and hold it over the weekend, only because I was worried about the bank, any kind of bad bank news, but I think that will slowly roll out over the next few weeks. So just be mindful of that. I really think it's kind of been swept under the rug. A lot of good news has been rolling out, like I said, over this weekend, to be honest, aside from the Facebook news. But again, like I said, Facebook has been kind of pumping before then. So I think this week is going to be telling when we futures open up on Sunday nights. I think we will gap up and then hopefully do some kind of pullback for Monday to get some kind of entry in there. And then I think it starts our historical run, bull run for the most part. I think eventually, again, July, October, we need to pay attention to see what is going on with the market. Again, if for some reason the inflation rates start really running high very fastly, again, Powell might have to step in. At that point, we could get a very dramatic correction at that point. But being said, let's go ahead and pull up the charts and dive into what to look at this week. I think my primaries, like I've said and stated before, there are a lot of different things coming into this week. Again, earnings starts this week. I didn't really see a ton of earnings on there that could really be that anybody may want. I know there's Levi's, there's WD-40. Planet 13 is actually Monday close of bell. So they do have earnings then. I expect Planet 13 to have a big rip after that, so be mindful of that. That is one I've been talking about for a while. I do like Planet 13, especially going into this new post-pandemic era and this humongous bull market I think we are getting ready to go into, getting ready to start, which I believe starts this month and continue however long. Again, corrections and black swans are still in the cards, so just be mindful of that. But nonetheless, I think we are prepared and ready to go. So again, SPY on Friday, it played well. There was a lot of pumps in the morning. I was expecting that. I did swing Airbnb overnight, so there was a nice pump. Everything gapped up Thursday night or Wednesday night, excuse me, and then into Thursday. And then after that initial pump, there was an attempt to pump again during that first hour or two, but then we sold off towards the end of the day. But with that being said, I think it's definitely set us up for a lot of good things this week. Again, go after your primaries. Like I've always stated, Tesla, Airbnb, Apple Spot, PLTR, NNDM, Planet 13, a very good company. There's a lot of really good ones. Lemonade is another really good one that I think are going to really start running. Once tech starts getting legs, I think this market is really going to rip. That being said, SPY just went nothing but up. Again, shows that it wasn't only tech tech was kind of dying on Sunday or on Thursday, excuse me, but the value stocks were doing pretty well as well. So just keep that in mind. It's good to see everything, the bull market push in every industry, not just in one particular industry. Then that would essentially be considered a bubble. But considering that it's not just tech that is pushing, that we're starting to have value stocks as well push at the same time, is definitely very much a positive, and something that Cathie Wood has been talking about back in early March, and I kept reiterating how this whole thing was going to play out, and has essentially been playing out to essentially what the the ideas and thoughts that she has shared about what's has been going on throughout this time. TLT looks like we're starting to pump back up, which is good to see and hold steady and not get dramatic moves. It was nice to actually see that these dramatic moves weren't swinging the market in dramatic fashion. They were just, the market was okay with it. It seemed like the market kind of disconnected with it in the fashion that it wasn't letting the market just control it. It was doing its own thing. QQQ actually looks fantastic. It's shooting up and finally breaking out of that range that we've been sitting in for what seems like forever. And actually we're holding above the 20, we're holding above all the EMAs. Looks like we're getting ready to go back to all-time highs. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if we do come back down here to the 321.71 mark to do a retest from the top side here to test the zone. And then come Monday morning and then good enough for entries and then take off. Hopefully that's what we're looking for. Again, it's all theory. Futures may open up on Friday, may gap up, pull back. A lot of different things can happen between now and 9:30 Eastern Standard Time on Monday. So just be mindful of that. Tesla in itself looking extremely good. Had that nice push for those 2 days. But ultimately, with those numbers coming out, I expect this to gap up into here, into the 709 mark. There is a resistance there. One thing I want to keep in mind. So if we do perhaps gap up over this and try to break that on Monday, if not gap up somewhat come Monday morning pre-market and then perhaps break that at 9:30. We'll see. But I really want Tesla over this 711 mark. It's been really struggling. It's attempted it a couple different times, but it has definitely been struggling. So if we can break this, again, we'll run up to that 737, we'll run into more resistance, but then I think we start going back towards testing that all-time high again. Airbnb, I did swing this on, again, overnight. On Wednesday night, had that gap up. I sold up on top. I re-entered it, ended up actually, when I hit the zone, I ended up actually breaking even on this. I wanted to see a drop down. I was going to try to swing this thing, but I just didn't like it. It started getting really volatile right here, and it looked like it was looking weak and going into a long weekend. I wasn't expecting it to hold here, and I saw that as soon as I entered that position. I waited. I gave it some time. It didn't hold. I got out even, and it dropped. So, but the job numbers that came out were really good as well. So I would expect this to actually fly up come Monday as well. So just keep Airbnb on watch as well. Come Monday again, Facebook had that personal breach of personal data. So I expect this to come back down. For Facebook, personal information breach, that is probably actually it's going to come flying down. So we need to find a good base. Are we going to see it at this? Probably actually see it at this 266 mark from where it's sitting right now, or I may just even hit this 286 mark. But again, they're advertising money that they've been getting has been so absurd. That's what's caused this initial run even through March. And so I think even any kind of dramatic shift like that, just wait for the base at that point, and then when it starts basing is when you get in position and then ride it up for this next run. Apple finally actually looking strong in those 2 days, which is good to see. There's a lot of whipsaw here. Hopefully we can break out of this trend is what we're looking for. If we do break out of this trend and get back above this 120, essentially 125 mark, if we can get in there, retest this trend, I think Apple can grow some legs. Spot, I do like Spot a lot. It's been sitting right above everything, which is actually really nice to see. It looks like it's ready to roll as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do some kind of small gap up here and then retest this zone. And then Spot would be another fantastic one to ride. Lemonade is the same way. It looks just like Spot. And everything I just said, reapply it to Lemonade because Lemonade is another fantastic setup. And again, we're going into earnings. We've got earnings coming up. Big tech and stuff doesn't start, I think, until first week of April. Normally it takes about 2 to 3 weeks before the run up. So expect a lot of these, especially now since it's been held down so much with all the money and the infrastructure and everything going on. I really expect a lot of these stocks to just start tearing up and making some huge moves over the next month, 2 months, in my opinion. Again, that can change at any moment, so just be mindful of that and manage your risk. Etsy looks good. It's not my primary. I'm going for the big guns ultimately for this bull run, like Tesla, Airbnb, Spot, Lemonade. Again, all those ones I just reiterated. I think they're going to have the biggest moves. Disney, I think, will have a huge move. It finally had a huge move Monday morning or Thursday morning, and looks like it's broke above the 200. So this one will definitely be another one to keep on watch. This one can really go parabolic, I think, at some point with all the parks and everything opening up. Snap is another good one. Everything, like I said, everything is looking the same. Everything is has a really good setup, so it's finding your setups. I do like Snap for grabbing some longer term contracts and holding those over the next 2 months. Again, not financial advice. Twilio is also cloud lending platform. This would be another great one to get into. This has taken quite the beating. So again, if we can be so lucky to get a lot of these are set up this way. If we could be so lucky to perhaps get a pump to this zone and get a pull back to this 200 and all these EMAs on the rising support, that would be great. That'd be extremely bullish. And we can get back into the tech as we know it. Because it, again, has been a little bit of a rough month. Scalping has been great, but I prefer to do the swinging. The swinging is much better, and I enjoy it a lot more. But being said, Square, again, another major player in the tech space, I think could make some more moves coming up. Palantir is another huge one that I think can really, once it breaks back above this 200, I think it's going to grow legs and really rip. I like Palantir, but it also does need a break above this 23.33 mark. Get back above all the EMAs would be ideal, in my opinion. And NDM, same thing with this. This one actually needs to break this 910 mark. It sold off quite a bit on Thursday, which is intriguing. It didn't come back down to the 8, but we'll have to see. Fastly, another great one, perfect setup. Like everything else, wait for it to hit all these EMAs, take a position and ride that guy out. Unity's actually been showing some pretty good strength in here over the past 2 days. I've really noticed that even though the market's been kind of pulling back, Unity's been pushing pretty hard. So I think this is another good one to keep on watch this week or the next month. I think a lot of these are going to make up ground for all the time it's been held down and consolidating for the past month. DD could be a good one. Enphase, another great setup, I think could benefit from, again, the architecture and everything that's going to happen over the next coming months. So I probably won't play this one only because of the fact that I think there is going to be a lot more better moves, in my opinion, unless some different knows that specifically ties to Enphase. I think everything else will have bigger moves on the move back. Baidu, I think, will have another huge move. It is slowly moving up. I think it's going to try to make up ground here. And then since it took that major beating from that sell-off that from the Tiger management, the whole fiasco that went on with that. ZM, another big player. I know Kathy Woods has really been pushing this one, that ZM is here to stay. And I would highly agree. I think we've definitely moving, shifting in a lot of different avenues. There's a lot of other different videos I want to bring up and start creating on this channel based around things like crypto and stuff, because I think just in general, there's a lot of different technologies that are really making a change that are behind the scenes that we are not aware of. So Zoom being one of them, and being working from home is becoming something that I think a lot of people want to continue to do even after everything that is going on. LKCO, I actually took a late position in this on Friday. I think the setup is really good. It's been really basing here and looks to hopefully retest the 386 possible. Again, this is a longer swing. They do a lot of autonomous driving, and the way they do their imaging is a lot crisper compared to that of Tesla. But being said, it's not always the case. It really just depends. I think the infrastructure still needs to build out a little bit more. And I think this was a hype cycle here just because of the autonomous driving. But ultimately, I do like the chart in itself. Fundamentals are pretty strong from what I can see. So ultimately, this move is purely technical as well as some fundamental. But I do like that. I did take that on Friday. NIO. Another big player, I think, can get the sympathy run along with Tesla, though NIO can hold its own for the most part. It's not my favorite, but a lot of people do like NIO. Same with Lucid. I think get the sympathy play on that one as well. I would definitely be careful with EVs. I think EVs, there's been a mad flux to EVs and everything that's been going on. I think some of these might be dying off and not recovering back from March. Again, if it is a bull market, everything is just going to push either way. But definitely have to keep your eyes open. Let me see here. The very BYND Beyond Meat is actually looking pretty good. It seems that the new base is this 124 mark. But ultimately, I want it back over this 200 moving average. If we can possibly break out of the zone actually and do a retest back against the 200, I would look to take a position at that point. Let's see, the very good company. This one has been taking a beat down. It held its ground for quite a while, but then it just continued to get pummeled quite a bit over the past month. But nonetheless, I think this one still has a great opportunity coming up in the coming months and expanding that it has been doing into the U.S., into Walmart, Costco, and all those. The distribution is going to really make this thing fly. I think, again, we're still on the very early stages, but I do believe in the very good butcher very much. The Tattooed Chef actually has a good setup. It's been playing range here really well, actually, to be honest. I haven't played this range. I've never actually played this particular ticker, but I'm not a huge fan of it. I think a lot of people might get sick of freezer foods, unless there's a lot of single guys out there. But nonetheless, I think this is not one of my primary ones. But as you can see, the range is still playing range well. If it does break above this, we could go back and try to go for that all-time highs again. So might be something worth keeping on watch, especially if we can get back over the 200 here, which the 200 is sitting at 1988. So sitting at about $20. If we can break over $20, then it would look to get a position at that point. Planet 13, again, earnings on Monday after close could really get this thing to skyrocket. I think it's going to really impress people. And I think we'll be seeing back at 9. Again, it's not 100%. Nothing is 100% in this game. Just you're aware of that. But I think going back to all-time highs and retesting that, if not breaking that, I think is a very strong possibility come Monday, Tuesday morning. So something to keep an eye on. If I'm wrong, well, then I guess we'll dip and we'll just go from there. So manage your risk. Every time manage your risk. Whenever you get in, be aware. Just because you think it's going to go one way and it goes the other way, it happens more than you think. So being said, just manage your risk. Space, actually, the setup here is actually really good. The consolidation is really strong here, which is good to see. So it would actually be possible that we could get a good position, a good run here back to 62. I don't know if we're going to see that high, but definitely something I want to keep on watch, as I think space can really make a move. MU has been plays range really well. It's not something I typically play. I know chip players in itself got that positive news, and they've been popping. Expect a continuation of the chip makers as well. It's something could very much see and have them play all the way back out. So just if we get any kind of pullback and stuff, chips are definitely, EVs are another big one for right now. I think those are the two headliners that are really going to push the markets back up, along with things like Airbnb and some other value plays as well. BABA it's being held down. I think there'll be better plays. I think e-commerce might suffer a little bit here, although Amazon is looking pretty strong. Shop, everything might just be strong in general. But Netflix has earnings come up, so you might start seeing Netflix run for earnings come up. I wouldn't be surprised, actually, if we get a little bit of a pullback before that happens on Netflix. Roku, actually, it looks really good, to be honest. If it does break this and hold this like everything else above the 200, Roku could be one that could recover a lot of this very easily. That's a big move for Roku. That's almost $200, 200 points that you could get back from Roku, and I think it could very easily make that up plus more going into this rally. Again, this is more of just a rally. It's a stay-at-home play as well. People, I think, are going to want to get out and actually watch movies and do other things. But ultimately, I think just market in general, Roku being one of the number one players, that it will definitely start running. BA struggling. I don't know if this is really going to be a big runner. If there's any kind of news, I know there's news circulating around possibly winning an award for Southwest. If that is possible, you can definitely see BA go flying, but it's definitely not something to. I think you need the news to be able to get airlines to start moving again. And again, you'll probably see other sympathy plays off of these airlines as well. Visa is looking really strong. It did break. Banks are coming up as well. The earnings for those are coming up. So just be mindful of that. I think next week is banks. If that is the case, definitely going to see some major movement in banks next week or coming into next week. So keep that in mind. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I think that is pretty much it. This video is actually pretty long. And I think, again, this could be it. Come Monday morning, if we are holding strong, be prepared for a big week, a big month. It is typically a very bullish month. We have earnings. Typically, when we have earnings, we have quite the run-ups. We have a lot of stimulus in the system. As long as there are no black swans and as long as the rates don't go too far out of control, as long as we don't hit that 2% too fast, I think we will be fine. And I think we will continue to run and see, again, one of the biggest bull markets we have ever seen before. So being said, remember to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And until next time, guys, I will see you later.